Want to look leaner and be stronger? Then check out the Nuva Bar. It actually helps you work out. The Nuva Bar is the compact, lightweight way to regain freedom and balance. It targets your lower body, upper body, abs, and core without getting down on the floor. Best of all, the Nuva Bar is now on sale for just $99.99 plus free shipping and comes with interchangeable resistance bands with 7 full workouts. So if you want a trimmer waistline to look like you're 40 in your 60s, get the Nuva Bar and forget about crunches on the floor. Go to nuvabar.com. That's NUVABAR.com.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
If you're looking for flexible workouts, Peloton's got you covered. Summer runs or playoff season meditations. Whatever your vibe, Peloton has thousands of classes built to push you. We know how life goes. New father, new routines, new locations. What matters is that you have something there to adapt with you, whether you need a challenge or rest. And Peloton has everything you need whenever you need it. Find your push. Find your power. Peloton. Visit onepeloton.com.
Just in case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barrero's Top 5 at 5.
Sounds like you got a pretty good list for your Top 5 at 5. I've got an item to add that is one of the great sports headlines that I can remember seeing in the last couple of decades. But anyway.
We're going to build up to it?
We'll build up to that, yeah.
All right, build up to it. Let's start then with last night on the Fan.
It's Patterson in the backcourt. Gives to Garcia. Heaves a 40-footer! He hit a 40-footer to win it! He hit a 40-footer to win it! From straight on! Right at the logo! 84-81. The Gophers are off the schneid.
What a shot. Woo! He hit that from half court.
So that's grim.
I don't think that was the play call.
Al Nolan.
In that situation, was it?
Ben said he had something that got kind of screwed up because...
Always does at the end of the games. It's just... I'm not saying that just about him. It's nuts at the end of the ballgame.
Lukai almost lost the inbound, which was scary, and then got bumped. I thought he was going to lose the ball, and then found Dawson Garcia, who was incredible last night.
Trailing the play, as we say in the business.
The trailer. You want to hear Provis?
Might as well.
A 3 for the lead or the win.
He's got the Michigan part first.
Spinning, hanging, scoring with 7 seconds to go.
He's a nice player, by the way.
Minnesota, no timeouts. Patterson bumped. We play on. It's Garcia. Lets it go for the win. Dawson Garcia. Bottom. Ball game. Gophers walk it off and beat Michigan in overtime.
Love it. Provis, Grimm, Nolan. Great job, guys. That was fun.
I have to apologize to Mike Grimm, too, today on 100,000 Watt Radio.
Really?
Yes, because on the way home last night...
Yes.
I'm listening to, the broadcast on the Fan, right? Because that's why we were out at 6.
Yep, right
so
here
it was
on
the flamethrower.
Yep.
And I hear him say ticky-tack foul, and I'm thinking, there he goes again. Just like the last game where within 1 minute, he'd whined about 3 calls that went against the Gophers. But here's where my apology comes in. In this situation, he was actually complaining about how ticky-tack a foul that was called on Michigan was.
There you go.
So there you have it. I have to give him props after mocking and ridiculing him year after year for his obsession with the Gophers always being jobbed by the officials.
It's universal, his disdain for officiating.
I think that's what I learned last night. Yeah.
It cuts both ways. So the Gophers get their first Big Ten victory of the season, knocking out previously unbeaten in the Big Ten Michigan.
Partial...
Coin Court storm?
Court storm. I would call it a like a half a court storm, wouldn't you?
Mostly because students weren't really there because they're still on break.
I don't know who was out there, but it was more than players.
I think it was because of the way it ended.
Yeah,
I think people just reacted and just ran because it was such a crazy finish.
Yeah, the none of the barn animals were there, right?
Right.
But there were still some people out there, and I didn't even rip them for, in this case, storming it. It's, and we had Provis on earlier because you just heard him. He did the game last night, and he told us about a very nice little private scene that he happened to overhear where Ben Johnson's dad, was congratulating him and saying, "I love you." And it's a meat grinder. I actually think, my gut tells me that Ben does a pretty good job of hiding what must be churning inside of him. I think he holds that in pretty good, but it's got to be difficult. What were they before that game? 0-7 in the Big Ten or 0-8?
No, it was 0-6.
0-6,
I think.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't want to get too far ahead of it, but it's hard, man, when that's happening to you again and again, and people are telling you you're done, it's over, program's dead. So you have no sense of humanity if you can't enjoy that moment for him and for them, so that they could kind of let loose a little bit, right? Just let all the emotions out. It doesn't prove anything. Hell, they could still, win 3 games to the entire Big Ten schedule. We'll see. But the fact of the matter is, to sort of let some of that pressure off, pretty vital last night. And the one thing, as much as it looked to me like they were trying to give the game away again several times, the one thing I will say that to me was the key to it was their activity on the offensive boards. They kept, in a lot of cases, it wasn't that they always got the rebound, but they battled for it, and then it would go off out of bounds off of one of Michigan's players. There were several times where it felt like the Gophers had 4 straight possessions inbounding the ball just because they kept the ball alive. Their activity, their intensity was pretty good throughout that game.
And it needs to be.
And they have no margin for error.
To be a team like that, it's got to be like that.
Yes, that's true.
Iowa, Tuesday night, their next Big Ten game on the road. Yes, Franz Red Face.
I have no idea what they're doing so far.
They're okay. They just lost to Muss in California. They just lost to USC. I haven't followed them a ton.
Muss is hot.
Yeah, he was cold for a while. Now he's hot again.
Beat Illinois at Illinois, although I think Illinois is missing one of its best players. And then, they've been very in and out because I think they lost 2 or 3 of their first Big Ten games.
Speaking of in and out, your Minnesota Timberwolves are back in action tonight. We're actually out
national
about an hour
TV?
from now. I don't think it's national TV.
Oh.
I don't know.
I think we're on national TV Monday, as I told you. By the way, do you know we have a hockey game as well on Monday?
Oh, that's right.
So it starts at 2. So we'll have a show.
Yeah.
But probably starting, knowing Fallness with his extended post game, we'll probably go 6 to 7. I'm thinking.
I'd say Fallness, take it as long as you want, bud.
Well, we're not even on 6 to 7. 6 to 6:30.
Yeah, 6:30.
But I don't think we get the day off. I was told by Abbott we got to be here whenever it ends.
Be on call.
Yes. So short show, I guess, but nevertheless,
I forgot we did have that. Thank you for reminding me.
In any case, go ahead.
So the Wolves play tonight against the Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns is going to be a game time decision, according to Tom Thibodeau.
He'll play.
I think he probably will as well. Gamer. We know that Dante DiVincenzo is out.
So is Conley back in the starting lineup?
Mike Conley is back into the starting lineup. I'm reading Alan Horton's tweet.
What about Dilly? Is he ready yet? Is he still? I thought he's ready now. I thought he's back.
I think he is back because he was just in Iowa.
Correct.
And I think he is back. I don't know for sure. As for Dante's status going forward, this from an Alan Horton tweet from Finchie's pregame availability, which is, I think, just wrapped up. He's out tonight and will go from there. For Dante DiVincenzo, who'd been playing great.
Yeah, he had been. Yeah.
Now is going to be out for a little while. Johnny says no real clarity yet on how long he may be out.
So I'm assuming that means Finchie's going to go with a 7-man rotation, a la Tibbs?
Probably.
Yeah, he'll just, no, we're not going to go add anybody else. We'll just go 7 players. 7 deep.
The Iron 7.
Good luck with that.
So that's tonight, 6:30, right here in the Fan. The pregame show starts at 6:15. Your Minnesota Vikings have a couple of coaches that have interviewed with the New York Jets. Did you hear me say a couple of coaches? Did that pique your interest?
Well, I think I kind of know who the second one is and what that's about, but go ahead.
The first one is B-Flow, and they confirmed that they have completed their interview with B-Flow for the head coach position. They also have completed an interview with Josh McCown.
Oh, yes, that's
for
right.
their head coach position.
I also thought, don't we have a positions coach who's interviewed for an offensive coordinator job?
Yeah, is it Grant Udinsky?
Yeah.
That guy?
I can't remember
the quarterback's coach.
What team.
Yeah, I'll have to find it.
Okay.
But yeah, he just did. They did talk about, I think it was Seattle, the Seahawks.
Okay.
I think I saw Softy tweeting about it. So the Vikings coaches are making the rounds right now because, as we've mentioned a few times today on the Friday Football Least, as you have called it, they do not have a game to prepare for this weekend.
No,
the Minnesota Vikings. So
unfortunate.
The game plan is irrelevant. Whatever Flo had dialed up for the Lions version 3.
If you're B-Flo, let's say with the Jets job, do you want Aaron Rodgers in your first year? Do you want A-Rod back as your QB? Because I think I might say yes.
Really?
I might.
Oh.
Now, that might be I'm letting all those memories for the way he finished the season fade too much. But you heard from number 4, Brett Favre. He thinks he's still got something left.
Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre?
Aaron Rodgers.
Really?
Yeah. I'm just wondering if you're a new coach. You've been a head coach before. You've had all kinds of quarterback trials and tribulations last time around. Is A-Rod, like, does that make you break out in hives that you're back as a head coach and that's the guy you have to deal with? Or do you go, you know what? No. Actually, I take my chances with that. We might be able to put some stuff together. He might have a little, if I get the right people around him, maybe we can get something done.
He went against him in London this year, Flo, so he would know. He would have known what it was like to prepare for him. I know that was early. That was essentially the first month of the season. I think that was week 5,
correct?
Early October, so I don't know. There's just so much. Is it worth the A-Rod stuff and the weekly circus?
That's the question.
That even when it's not so much, it still is.
Well, you have to get back to, it's the age-old issue. If the player's good enough, you put up with it.
Exactly.
Is he good enough? Can he summon up whatever is left of him for one more season in a way that then you can just cover your eyes, look the other way, and deal with it? That, to me, is such a crucial question.
You have the headline you want to get to?
How about us?
Before Grand in your hand? Go ahead.
How about A-Rod here?
Oh, we don't need A-Rod here.
We can't get Jones. Darnold's leaving. We got to have a backup. Do you think A-Rod should come as the backup?
Probably not.
Probably not.
I would
but
guess
what if you say, hey, we'll start the season with the A-Rod, but over the course of the year, we're going to go to JJ. You're going to help us tutor him. Is he at that point in his career where his ego could take that kind of a hit?
I don't think so.
What if he doesn't have a choice?
Then he'll just go into the Malibu mountains
He's
somewhere.
Quarterback whisperer, our guy, KOC.
Well,
Might be the ultimate
But that's
tease.
why he's not. If he comes here, he thinks it's because KOC is going to revitalize his career.
Right.
And then he never wants to hand it off
idiot.
to JJ.
All right, hit the, I'll get to the my item after in our next segment.
The Fan wants to give you a shot to put a grand in your hand with our National Cash Contest. Final keyword of the week is cash. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword cash.
We'll come back with a headline a sports headline that definitely got my attention, kind of an extension of the top 5, and then we will prepare for Lavelle at 5:30.
Want to look leaner and be stronger? Then check out the Nuva Bar. It actually helps you work out. The Nuva Bar is the compact, lightweight way to regain freedom and balance. It targets your lower body, upper body, abs, and core without getting down on the floor. Best of all, the Nuva Bar is now on sale for just $99.99 plus free shipping and comes with interchangeable resistance bands with 7 full workouts. So if you want a trimmer waistline to look like you're 40 in your 60s, get the Nuva Bar and forget about crunches on the floor. Go to NuvaBar.com. That's NuvaBar.com.
So Jimmy Butler's 7-game suspension ends tonight. The Miami Heat are back in action tonight as well. I think at home, if I'm not mistaken, but we can double check that. But here's the headline that got my attention via ESPN.com, because everybody's kind of trying to figure out, okay, well, how's this going to go? There are media reports that other players don't want him around the team anymore, that they want nothing to do with him, unnamed, but that's what they say. And then there's this. there is a palpable dread about what Butler might do. And I'm thinking, what, does he think he's going to take like a gun out of his waistband or something and start shooting it in the air? A palpable dread.
Palpable dread.
It's a great expression. I might hold on to that one and use it for future purposes, but that's a new one. That sounds pretty ominous. That sounds very tabloidy. A palpable dread, like glue himself to the court? Well, what? I mean, take 50 shots, refuse to shoot when he comes into the game? Changes his hairstyle again? I don't know.
Kobe did that once.
Kobe did?
Yeah,
shoot on purpose?
He basically refused to shoot because people were complaining about how much he was shooting.
Yeah, well, I
could see Buckets doing that.
Palpable dread.
Palpable dread.
The rumors continue to persist that he's going to end up in Golden State with the Warriors, that they might be desperate enough to say, we'll take a flyer because we got to add something, and we're not ready to trade Steph, so we might now. I don't know. I think they've got an extra one that might be a decent number one. I don't recall, but that's one of the ongoing. And I don't even know if he had a list of teams he was preferring. I don't know if the Golden State was on the list. I'm not exactly sure. I know I'm going to regret saying this. I know it. I know there'll be a day this will be used against me, and this might even land me in the PST. But I would trade Julius Randle for Jimmy Butler if I could do it. I don't even know if it's doable. I don't know how the money matches up. I would do it. And it's insane because you're inheriting. It's a different kind of headache. And to be honest, Randle at least has played. He's been durable.
Yeah.
Butler might miss the first 15 games once he gets here. But
more room for Naz then.
That's it.
Naz is going to get more minutes.
I would actually do that. Is that insane?
I don't think...
Because we've been through so much with Butler. Yeah. I don't want to romanticize him. I loved him. You and I were big Buckets guys, but it ended badly here.
It always ends badly.
He's not the same guy. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Here's the problem, though. I understand. If all things were equal, which they're not, I would say, yeah, probably. Let's give it another shot and see what the fit's going to be like. But Jimmy's big thing is he wants to be paid. That's why I think trading him... Yeah. That's why I think any team acquiring him, he wants... It's always about... Right. My next contract, even though he's 60 years old now and rarely plays, he wants the max money or the most money that he can possibly get. So I think that's the issue. I like the idea of getting Heat culture buckets here with this group. That'd be fun. We need something. We talked about this on Enough Said tonight. There's not. But I just don't think we're getting dread. With this team right now, is there not? There's always. I've been phrasing it like this. My palpable dread is the Wolves always feel like 1 3-possession meltdown away from everything crumbling again. That's it. They're always on like the teetering on this edge of a cliff. Sometimes they jump right off the cliff, like the first quarter against Golden State, where they're climbing back the whole time. But even when they're playing well, I always feel like they're 1 3-minute stretch away from the wheels coming off. What's Miami's record? Will you double check Miami's current record? I will, yeah. And they are hosting the Denver Nuggets. That's right. It's Denver. Tonight. Yeah, good opponent. They're 20-19, so they're essentially us. They've played 39 games, correct? I think that's the math, yeah. So far this season, he's played 22. So he's missed half the season already. Last year, 60. The year before that, 64. The year before that, 57. The year before that, was a COVID year short. There was a 52. I can't remember. It's true. He misses a bunch of time. And then you're back to, if you get tantalized and teased by him because when he is out there, he's playing well, he gives you something extra, but then he's only there for every other game, then you're back to what's the point? I would, though. I'm desperate. I'm desperate guy right now on your favorite team. I thought Suhan had a really good column today on it. I really did. Where he said, look, you can't judge it totally yet or now because there's still time to reverse or whatever the case may be. But even those of us who accepted the deal or tried to justify the deal that first day when it broke have to say it's disquieting, man. There is I'll put it this way. I am among the proponents of the deal who endorsed the deal at the time it took place, who now has a palpable sense of dread about the deal.
That's it. I can't say it anymore.
I've been there a while.
Firmly than there. Yeah, I don't feel, and I admit, unlike you, I tended to probably spend too much time on the town's goofiness and quirkiness, and oh God, here we go again. And not enough on, well, what's his production though? What did he adjust? Well, we all acknowledge how he adjusted defensively and was a better defensive player last year. But it sounds crazy. Looking back on it now, he feels like more of a glue guy than I ever would have suggested before.
Totally.
And that's on me. And you were more in that corner than I was. That there's a glue quality to, again, that goofiness maybe was something that kept things a little lighter in a way where there's less tension. Whatever it is, it's missing from the club, right? It just is.
Yes, there wasn't the bad body language that we see a lot with Carl on the team. There just wasn't. And they had, in fairness to this team, that team did have, even with Rudy, they had more runway, to use one of your favorite phrases. They had more build-up and lead-up together. Like Carl and Ant played together for a long time.
Yes.
And all of that took some time to get going. But the way that, because I'm with you, I just don't see how it's a workable long-term fit, all of this stuff, as much as I've tried to hang with it and hang into it. And I certainly understand the financial ramifications of the whole bit. I've always assumed that there's another move somewhere, whether it's this year or next year, whenever it is. This can't be the finished product, because the whole point of making the deal for Carl was they wanted to be able to financially have flexibility to extend the championship contending window with Anthony Edwards for as many possible seasons as they could. But in doing the move this year, they've obliterated 1 year of it.
Yeah.
Whatever Ant's championship window is, it started last year because they made the Western Conference Finals. They are not a championship caliber team this year. I'd be stunned if they turned it around to turn into some type of contender. So by definition, in making this move to elongate that window or make it longer, same thing, you've eliminated one of the years of that championship window. And that's what is too bad.
Come on, Dan. Maybe the Timberwolves should also hire Putin as their general manager. Wow. Buckets and Gobert would get along swimmingly.
I think they would.
Would they? I don't know. How's he? I mean, a lot of people hate Gobert. Would he hate Rudy?
I think he'd appreciate the defense. I think he'd appreciate the competitiveness.
Jeff from Richfield, Julius Randle or Andrew Wiggins? I don't think I want Andrew Wiggins.
No.
You at this point?
No.
I don't think I want to mess with that. That would not work for me. Let me get to one more text before we prepare for Lavelle at the
Wiggins was a dog in those finals, and everybody chirped at us. It's like, yeah, he's the seventh guy on the team.
Yeah.
You're asking him to rebound. Yeah. It just made me so mad. Still makes me mad.
Quiet-ass fan guy Pete, do the trade Dan just proposed. Howl. I think Butler would get along with Ant much better, much more than he did with Cat. More dog, less poodle.
Yeah.
It's probably true. Would you trade Dante DiVincenzo and Randall for Tyus Jones? No. What are you out of your mind? I love Tyus, but what? No.
That's someone just trying to get you going.
Then you're done. And you might as well just start over at that point, because that's losing too much talent, right? You have to. Tyus is, although it hasn't really translated in Phoenix.
They're terrible.
The way it's supposed to, right?
No, they're terrible.
Which then leads to the question again, does that mean one of the Ishbia brothers is willing to send Durant to his new Minnesota home when the other Ishbia brother buys the Twins?
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think of that.
And I haven't even looked. How's Durant look now? Durant's old.
Yeah.
I know Ant loves him, but, anyway.
Durant had 23 last night. Booker had 37. Durant's been fine.
612 guy, the Wolves need Jimmy back. Some palpable dread could really add some needed pressure. Well, yeah, it would certainly make things more interesting, but it could utterly implode.
Yeah.
But that's how desperate I feel about the current condition.
So we go from bring the nice, because that's our theme this year, right?
Yeah,
bring the nice to palpable dread.
Palpable dread. We welcome palpable dread.
Welcome to palpable dread.
Yeah.
Wolves,
and hopefully
Cavs,
what it would be is the other team would feel palpable dread coming in here, even though all we've done is play 500 hockey
They
at
did.
home.
Well, hockey too.
Hockey too.
Wild too. What was our wild phrase again? from last week?
Or
2 weeks ago, whenever that was?
We Fight the Panic.
We Fight the Panic.
Yeah. I don't want that one to go away.
That's why I got to bring that one back.
Where was the other one? Oh, there was a shot at you I wanted to get. Oh, here.
Oh, good.
This is hashtag Hockey Ambassador.
Glad we can squeeze this in.
Beyond the Pond tomorrow features Madonna, Eric Stahl, and more. It's hockey, so JG won't listen, but you can, Hockey Ambassador.
I do like driving around listening to Beyond the Pond.
I do, too. It's
and
a good
tomorrow,
show. It's a
I
good
will
listen.
be in the car for probably a couple segments.
Yeah, it's a nice guest.
And
list,
Madonna's an awesome guest.
He's an outstanding guest. We've had him on many times. Stahl's solid.
Stahl's good.
Stahl's good, I should say. And you won't listen because you don't care. It's not basketball. You know, it's
I'll
not,
be getting ready for Wolves Cavs.
It's not 2 words. Now, Nas Reed.
Want to look leaner and be stronger? Then check out the Nuva Bar. It actually helps you work out. The Nuva Bar is the compact, lightweight way to regain freedom and balance. It targets your lower body, upper body, abs, and core without getting down on the floor. Best of all, the Nuva Bar is now on sale for just $99.99 plus free shipping and comes with interchangeable resistance bands with 7 full workouts. So if you want a trimmer waistline to look like you're 40 in your 60s, get the Nuva Bar and forget about crunches on the floor. Go to NuvaBar.com. That's NuvaBar.com.
Lavelle Neal III is indeed back with us, brought to you by his good friends at Allery's. More details to come on a lot of their good deals. He joins us via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. What time, first of all, do you want to start the segment by issuing an apology?
What I do now?
Well, you picked the Vikings to beat the Rams, and it turned out to be the debacle in the desert. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I think a lot of us didn't see that one coming. On the way the Vikings played against the Lions ended up being a precursor to how the Rams game turned out. They couldn't stop the blitz, and Darnold couldn't get the ball out of his hand quick enough, and got happy feet and didn't take yards in front of him when he had chances to run, and it was just it was a disaster. It's too bad because in the postseason, you like to just win one postseason game for Christ's sake, after winning 14 during the regular season, and it just ends. That's the crazy thing about the NFL. When you're knocked out of the playoffs, everything just stops. All of a sudden, wow, there's not going to be any player availability. You're going to wow, we're going to have to do an end of season press conference, Quasi and KOC. For the players too. Damn, I got to go clean up my locker tomorrow. It goes from such a great season to just such a crash out. And I could feel, I was sitting with Vikings fans in the local watering hole, and I saw the gut punch they were taking over that. So, I thought they'd win the game. I thought they'd make adjustments off of what happened against the Lions and keep Darnold protected better. I thought they'd have great play calls. I thought KOC was going to, put one over on his former mentor and coach, and none of that transpired. So, that's why predictions are predictions, man. You're trying to look to the future. Unless you have a time machine, you're going to be wrong a bunch of times.
It was, do I have my math right? The combined score of our last 2 losses is 56-15. Am I leaving out a score? Whatever it is, it wasn't competitive in either game. And that's what I think adds another layer to it. Like you say, everybody loses except the team that wins the Super Bowl. But it's how you lose or whether you're in the ball game. And I really believe, as odd as this sounds, that they were never in that game, Lavelle. Now, from a score standpoint, you say, well, they weren't that far behind, but it never felt like they were in the bleeping game. That's how it felt to me.
Well, when you're used to seeing the Vikings run the ball decently, I know it's not as much as you'd like to see. But you see the aerial attack, and you've got a guy who went through for 4,400 yards, wherever it was, during the regular season.
Yep.
And it looks like that. It's going to look like there's no progress is being made. It's going to look like they're not in the game just because the lack of the offensive personality that we're used to seeing 14 times this season didn't show up in 2 games against the Lions and 2 games against the Rams, which is baffling. So, yeah, it did look like they weren't in the game. And I don't know, even if the referees get their heads out of their asses and make the right decision on the fumble column that could have tied the game, it was no guarantee that the offense is going to all of a sudden become functional.
The right call was made. Don't start this nonsense. It was the correct call.
He was in the grasp of the defensive player with his head facing the ground. There's no, you understand throwing the ball away.
He threw it away.
Or throwing the ball to avoid a sack. He was practically sacked.
Well,
they could have blown it in the grasp.
Well, that's possible, but they didn't.
The official has to read the situation and make the right decision.
If, though, he's called for in the grasp, there's no points. We don't get the points should. I know it's heartbreaking, but the Vikings did not deserve any points in that play. We can argue about whether he's in the grasp or intentional grounding, but not a touchdown. It's not a touchdown. Sorry. It's a smart play. He's a veteran guy who knew what he was doing.
I bet you that play gets debated there with the competition.
Well, it's been debated. Yeah, it'll be debated forever. There's no question about that part of it. Allery's Bar and Barbecue, downtown St. Paul, your home for free parking and Wild Shuttles, brings Lavelle Neal III to us every single week. This is a story real quick. I don't know we need to spend a lot of time on it, but we should discuss it. Because, and frankly, we probably should have gotten to it earlier in the show. And I don't even know if you're ready for it, but we have to at least acknowledge the story because I'm not even sure everybody completely understands the ramifications of it. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights has issued guidance regarding college athlete name, image, and likeness, putting the onus on schools to ensure their male and female athletes receive proportionate NIL opportunities and resources regardless of whether the funding comes from external sources. So
how does that work?
Well, it's a massive story. I don't know if, and different people within college football, for example, college athletics are debating whether this mandates a proportion that they're certainly not expecting in terms of percentage of who gets what money. But this has extraordinary consequences if indeed the schools ultimately feel like they have to adhere to it, right? It completely turns on its head the new model, right, Gaardsy? You can chime in on this. You know this better than both of us. It's a story we cannot ignore.
No, and it's very 11th hour.
Yes.
In terms of, President Biden is being replaced by President Trump on Monday. And so a lot of the thinking is, because you're right, everybody's been operating under that Title IX only applies to opportunities, not money, not dollars. So
Correct.
You still have to have the same number of roster spots, scholarships, whatever it is, male and female. Right. But the finances do whatever you want. And most schools were operating, football was going to get at least 70, in some 75%, in some cases probably more. What's interesting is I've read about it today is a lot of people are going, yeah, this is not what we planned for or intended to go by. It's not a regulation. It's only guidance, number one. So it's not, they're basically saying this could be a problem for you. We're not telling you it is going to be, but it could be. And a lot of people are also thinking that once Trump gets in there, the whole thing's going to be flipped.
Yes.
And so
where if this office in under the previous administration, the current administration might say, well, no, we're going to take you to court over this to make sure you believe that we meant what we said. Where the Trump administration might be more likely to say, we're not, okay, it's a guideline. We're happy for you. A guideline doesn't mean you have to follow it.
Well, that's what I meant with this. If it's a guideline, that means what's the ramifications if you don't follow the guideline?
Yeah, that's the key question.
Exactly
You're right.
What's the penalty for that? And then how are they going to keep up with this? If you could sign a deal from external sources,
right?
How in the hell are you going to litigate that? Or
I don't know that you can.
Legislate that.
I don't know that you can. Specifically, it stated that the amounts paid to athletes through NIL deals should be considered part of a school's athletic financial assistance, just as grants in aid and cost of attendance funds are. That's a key. There was a distinction there. They're saying there is no distinction. And my guess is it's going to end up in the courts, right? Because my guess is if the Trump administration says don't worry about it, don't pay any attention to it, and I know there will be some organizations that say, wait a minute, no, that's too easy. No, we're gonna make those guidelines were offered up for a reason by the previous administration, so we're going to take this thing in court. Like everything else, it's going to end up in court.
Hey, I got a question. The revenue sharing in college starts with the 2025, 2026 seasons, right?
That's the plan.
Is that right?
They intend to start this summer.
Is that supposed to be divided equally between men's and women's sports?
No.
No one intended it that way, right?
The $21 million, whatever it is, schools can divvy that up however they want. And most of them, like I said, we're going to give the lion's share, vast majority, to football and then basketball. Gophers are going to do hockey. Volleyball is going to be one of them. But that does not have to be distributed equally, no.
Well, doesn't that, with this ruling, though, someone's going to try to extrapolate that out to say, well, that should count.
They are.
That should count for the revenue sharing as well.
Absolutely,
yeah that's why it's a big thing. Very true. That's why it's a little bit of a curveball.
All right.
Laura, I thought you were asking me about the Wisconsin player who is trying to walk out on his NIL deal and transfer, and the school won't let him.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, too.
I missed that one.
He's trying to go to Miami, I believe. He signed
we're talking about football?
Yes.
Okay.
He signed a 2-year NIL deal with the Badgers Collective. Did one of the years. I think was paid for both years or was under contract for both years. And so by NCAA rules, he can go to Miami
anytime he wants.
But the Wisconsin Collective is basically saying, no, you're going to have to give us the money back, or your new school is going to have to give us the money. It's very, very interesting. And I think going to be more common as this thing continues to go on, because most schools are going to try to protect themselves a little bit.
Oh my God, that's going to be another layer here. I bet you someone's going to suggest that if a player walks on an NIL deal, the school he goes to has to repay the other school.
Yes, there's almost like a buyout. If you hire a coach, you have to pay the coach. You have to pay the school X amount of dollars to take their coach. It's going to be like that.
Yeah, it's.
My college sports
could possibly go wrong. No wonder Glenn Mason didn't want any part of this. It's
Nick Saban.
It's bizarre.
Mike Krzyzewski.
But definitely a good talker. Let me ask you. Let me try this hypothetical on you.
No.
Pat Riley calls Tim Conley, and he says, "I got a whopper of a trade for you. We're ready to offer up Jimmy Butler for Julius Randle. We can't. Our other members of our team, they don't want Butler here anymore. He doesn't want to be here anymore. Godspeed. We got to finally move on from him." I don't even know, by the way, how the money would work there in the contracts. My guess is there have to be some others as part of the deal.
We probably have to send something else.
I think so. And then this may be silly, but is it deranged to even consider this? Because I'm deranged enough right now regarding what I've seen to actually consider it, even though I know in a sense you may be inheriting one kind of problem for a different kind of a problem. I actually think if there was a way to do it in this hypothetical world, I would entertain it. Am I losing it?
No, but why would the Wolves trade for a petulant little twerp like Jimmy Butler, who's probably going to bring the same baggage and issues to Minnesota?
That's the comeback.
How's that going to work? So Nas will probably start at the 4. Butler will start at the 3. Jaden McDaniels off the bench.
Butler can play 3 positions. Yeah, Butler's fine at 1, 2, or 3. A combination of all those.
I don't know, man. I was just reading about that today, about his history of drama and how he left teams.
And he doesn't miss.
And he misses sort of breakdown at the end.
And he misses a bunch of games.
So such a debacle.
He's played half the season. Yeah, I think the problem again is his contract's too rich to make it. Randall's isn't rich enough, and you can't.
He only played in 62% of the games, right?
Well, this year 50%. He's played only half the games, and it's a sad story with Butler because he came in as the quintessential overachiever everyman, right? That was the whole story on him. And somewhere along the line, he forgot who he's supposed to be. And it's sad because, as you know, how many really good two-way players are there in the National Basketball Association? 10?
No,
maybe 12. There ain't a lot of those. And at his best, that's what he could give you. Now, it may be past the point. I guess this is my own ham-handed way of saying I'm very unsettled by the mix and even trying to convince myself that there's a way to figure this thing out with the group you have, and they can get hot, and they can win 15 out of 17, and they can make this whole thing work, because I'm not sure I see it.
I agree with you. And then I was reading something. I missed it. Wasn't there a recent game where the Wolves were trying to come back late or something, and everybody was on the bench standing up and cheering and egging their players on, and Randall was sitting on the bench sulking or something in his chair, and the optics just looked really bad.
Yes.
And sometimes he sounds really honest and authentic at other times, but his actions kind of suggest otherwise. I'm with you, and I given Finchy, slack here about. I figured Finch will figure out a way to get everybody played. He's a hell of a coach. He connects well with players. He presses the right buttons. He gets these guys to play the best together, but it hasn't happened. So I don't know what market there would be for Julius Randle. I don't know who would want him at this point because everybody's seen that it's not going well in Minnesota. So I don't know if he just have a withdrawal from not living in New York anymore or what. It's baffled.
Yeah.
And with the trade deadline is February 6th. Is that right?
That
Something like that.
I don't know. I'll take your word for it. It usually is, I think, early Feb.
But the rumors, Randall's going to be in rumor mills from now until the deadline.
No question.
About possibly being moved. And it's stunning how in the calendar year, all this has changed. Everybody was dancing in the streets. Wolves fans were safe to come out again after years of being terrible and mediocre and mismanaged.
It's draining.
And now it's back to being a broken down jalopy again.
It is, and again, we can play the game, but there are only 3 games out of the 4th spot, and there's a lot of teams in the middle of it, but there's just not at all a good feel for any. And look, I don't want to make this just about Randall because it's not like he's awful every game. Some of his numbers actually are pretty good. His assist numbers are very high. I had suggested to Johnny a couple of weeks ago that my proposal, if you're stuck with him, is to go to Randall and say, I want you to stop thinking about scoring. Literally. I want you to, especially with Conley not on the court, I want you to be our point forward. I want to run a lot of stuff through you, but not with you just dribbling. It's you getting the ball to other people. And he's kind of done some of that. His assist numbers, I think, lately are actually quite good. But I don't know where that, at the end of the day, whether that really changes the calculus all that much. I don't know. Because you still need scoring, but whatever. Yeah,
I thought it was working out, though. There was a couple of packages Finch had on the floor when there was Randall with Naz Reid and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and it seemed to work. Him being kind of like a point forward in those situations.
That's true.
I thought that was working, so I'd like to see them stick with that a little bit and see how it's going. I'm glad to see DiVincenzo starting to play like the person that we thought we were getting in the deal. He's responded to have to be in the starting lineup. It's tough to see Mike Conley in this situation, but man, they got to win games, and maybe they have to use the Vikings approach is to just win that day. Don't worry about the standings anymore.
Right.
And just come to the stand. Let's do whatever we can to win today and just move forward and see if we can start stacking.
There's just been too many bad taste in your mouth losses. The most recent was the Golden State loss a couple nights ago, where you come back and you make it interesting, but you play so badly. You seem so disinterested in the first quarter. And part of this is, again, the way if you're a mature team, you're supposed to look at this is, look, we're about to hit kind of a meaty part of our schedule, right? We got to go to New York. We got to play the Cavaliers. We got Denver. We got some. So this is a game we got to get. This is being handed to us. They're injury ravaged, illness ravaged. They're at the end of a long trip. And they beat us right before Christmas here, so we can't mess around with this game. And what did they do? The entire first quarter, they messed around both offensively and defensively. And I start to worry. You're a Finchy guy, I think. I'm a Finchy guy. But I do start to worry about, okay, is he running out of answers? Is he running out of ideas about, okay, how do we try to get the best out of what we have here? And maybe, again, there is no workable answer because of the mix of players. You mentioned DiVincenzo. Since he's been starting, he's averaging 17 a game. And the moral there is you have to get, whoever that fifth guy is, you do have to get more scoring, which he's giving them. And that's what was hurting with Conley because his shooting has been so subpar compared to almost any year of his career. This might be, in fact, I think it is the worst shooting year of his career thus far.
Yeah, the Golden State game was that one really left a bad taste in my mouth, to borrow your words. Probably one of the worst tastes of the year, just because I don't pretend to know every player in the NBA, okay? there's some teams that roll up in Target Center, and I'm like, okay, who's this dude? You know.
Yep.
But Golden State, because of their recent history and their success, you pretty much know the main characters over there. Their starting lineup, I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who that guy is. They're like, oh my God, look at their bench. We're like, who are these people?
Yeah.
And these people were ones who were just taking it to the Wolves, shooting threes and playing them tough. And I'm like, man, this one's going to bug me for a while, that game.
All right, so now we're in the sports abyss period. Vikings are out. What are you looking forward to the next? It can't be baseball, by the way, because we're meaningless in baseball. We're not going to make any moves. It's obvious. The only baseball move anybody cares about in this town is ownership change, which you keep telling us there's like 5 million different operators who want to buy the Twins, but I won't believe it until I actually see the offers or see it happen. I think it's going to be slow cooked forever. I'm going to be shocked if we have any movement on ownership before the season begins. Aren't you?
Now, the one thing a deal completed by when the season ends? Oh, I think there'll be an owner by the end of the year. I think that's going to happen.
By the end of the season?
Yes, by the end of the season, there will be a new owner for the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, that's slow cooking it, is what I mean, though. That ain't going to be. And I think. Well, go ahead.
I was told May or June. Would be the time that the deal would be signed and the signatures would be on paper and keys would be handed over, and it would be a new day, a new era in the Twin Cities for baseball ownership. Yeah. That's what I was told.
So you were told, huh?
And I talked to a few people. I've talked to people who are from a couple of ownership groups who know other ownership groups, and a lot of people have been calling well-known people in this town just to learn more about the city. They want to know about the political climate, and the economics there, and how does it move forward since the 2020 year we all want to forget. So no, there are people digging into this thing. Now they got to prove they got the money. That's the part they're at right now. And then there's going to be a time about February or March where it's going to be a request for make your best offer. Let's have it, and then they'll hopefully have a winner identified by late March, early April.
Are you at the cigar? Are you at the cigar bar right now?
Damn, I got out of it again. It was quiet in here when I first started talking, and 5 people walked in.
Yeah, it sounds festive. I mean, it's not obnoxious. It's nice background noise a little bit. It's not getting in the way of our ability to hear you, but it's just sort of that's part of your signature, man. You're a man of the people. You're going to be around, and you like to be, unlike me, you like to be around human beings.
And another thing too, I know you said because of the abyss here. I got to point out that the Unrivaled League is starting tonight.
Is that tonight?
And
yeah.
And two, there's baseball in the air, man. Next week, Wednesday is the Old Timers Banquet on Wednesday. Thursday's the annual Diamond Awards. Raises money for neurological research at the University of Minnesota. Oh, that's right. I better make sure tickets are available at diamondawards.mn.edu. We're trying to break a record here. The record's 550. We think we can break it this year. And then
have the poll ads
Twins Fest is a week from is next week this time. Well, Winter Caravan's going on next week. There's a lot of baseball stuff happening now.
That's great.
Rocco in studio next Wednesday.
Yeah, he's coming back. Second straight year in studio. It was fun last year. I'm going to try to get him going this year.
Get the dump button going.
Yeah, well, that happened. Didn't he swear last year?
I think he
times?
did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
This year, I think
that's your fault. You know why? Because you make everybody so damn comfortable.
Well,
and they act like you're smoking a cigar with them, and all of a sudden they just say whatever's on their mind, and mistakes happen.
Speaking of smoking, I think he was so loose last year. He's going to come in with some ganja. I think he's going to try to smoke some stuff on air with me.
He is a Birkenstock wearing guy, so that's very possible.
No question about it. Is that legal? It's legal in the state.
It's legal, and I think that's why
FCC rule.
You brought it up with it multiple times. I think that was
last year?
That you were obsessed with getting him to admit that he was basically smoking weed.
No, but this time I want him to share a bong with me
it's
during
the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah, I want it to
or Bill Maher's podcast.
Create a good bond between us. Yeah, Maher does it on every
Papa Gummy with him at least.
Maybe Papa Gummy. What do they taste like? See, that's the thing. I don't know. I get nauseated easily. What does a marijuana gummy taste like?
There's all kinds of flavors.
All right, I'm just going to admit I've taken gummies. I don't take them regularly, but I have at the right moment, and it tastes like candy. It's like a chewable candy.
I don't like chewable candy.
There could be different flavors too. It could be like a cherry flavor, or peach flavor, or banana.
If they could make one that like a chewable that tastes like a chunky. then I'd devour them. You know
I was going to say baked ruffles.
Well,
get you some baked ruffle
which
gummies.
still don't exist, by the way.
Yeah.
They're gone. The baked
We'll
ruffles.
have to get you those.
We got to go because we're running a little bit behind schedule. So enjoy the Abyss. Enjoy the football divisional round. We didn't even make the divisional round. I still can't believe it, man. I'm annoyed.
I can't either.
Yeah, it's sad. But
and I'm writing the football for Sunday, but it's funny as it is.
Pro football or college?
Pro.
Okay. Do you know what
I'm just saying, the Vikings have a lot to do this offseason, but the offseason could be turned on its head if Brian Flores gets hired, because that's gonna lead. There's gonna be a ripple effect from that one on that organization.
I am going to predict that B-Flow will not take or receive an offer that he can't refuse. I'm going to predict that B-Flow will be back with the Vikings in 2025.
Did you see the reports that now Josh McCown may be B-Flow's offensive coordinator if he gets hired?
Well, that's the interesting thing. Does that mean Darnold becomes the package? Can New York handle Darnold coming back to the Jets after the disaster was the first time and sell it properly? Like, no. This is a different guy, and we're bringing back, if not the quarterback whisperer, we're bringing back a second-generation quarterback whisperer in their old quarterbacks coach, who everybody loves. So, yeah, maybe that's going to be the ticket.
Well, Flores interviews with the Bears tomorrow.
Bears are going to end up with either former Packers guy, what's his name?
Mike McCarthy.
McCarthy or Pete Carroll. Write it down right now. It's
There's
going to be
something
either
about Pete Carroll that intrigues me.
Or McCarthy.
Because I would think Pete could put together a rock star coaching staff.
I'm not worried about his age.
It could be set up where Pete could coach for 3 or 4 years and then retire, and then his replacement guy could just take over.
Good conversation. We got to go. Thank you.
Take care.
Lavelle Neal.
Want to look leaner and be stronger? Then check out the Nuva Bar. It actually helps you work out. The Nuva Bar is the compact, lightweight way to regain freedom and balance. It targets your lower body, upper body, abs, and core without getting down on the floor. Best of all, the Nuva Bar is now on sale for just $99.99 plus free shipping and comes with interchangeable resistance bands with 7 full workouts. So if you want a trimmer waistline to look like you're 40 in your 60s, get the Nuva Bar and forget about crunches on the floor. Go to NuvaBar.com. That's NuvaBar.com.
Show Wrap brought to you as always by American Pressure, commercial grade pressure washers since 1975.
It's the Bumper to Bumper Show Wrap.
Had a text earlier from an individual who wondered whether we knew that Twins broadcaster Corey Provis used to work with Bob Uecker. Yes, not only did we know it, we had a great conversation with Corey on today's broadcast between 3:30 and 4. I highly recommend that you podcast it if you missed it, as that individual did first time around. Provis going deep on his very emotional feelings about what made Bob Uecker tick and what he will miss about him and what he learned about broadcasting next to him as well. That was between 3:30 and 4. Picks with Gaardsy at 4. It got weird, having to do these industrial films that Vern is apparently going to make in
You got a nice offer, I
Wisconsin.
thought.
Yeah, I got a really good offer to have a small part in one of the motion pictures, which I didn't appreciate.
Don't you think Paul Newman, Robert Redford, your guys, they all started somewhere.
They did. They all started small. Also, Ben Gessling on the Vikings, 4:30 to 5, and Lavelle just joined. Can you hit the breaking news sounder real quick in our remaining 3 minutes? This is a fairly big A-section story which we will give more attention next week. Governor Tim Walz acted prematurely in calling a special election in House District 40B. The Minnesota Supreme Court ruled today.
Oh.
The High Court ruling means a special election scheduled for Jan 28 will be canceled, and Walz must issue a new writ of special election. Republicans sued to have the Supreme Court intervene because in cases where a vacancy arises from a successful election contest, Minnesota law instructs the governor to call a special election after the legislative session begins. And it kind of goes on from there. It's now unclear when a special election can occur, but it will almost certainly mean that Republicans' one-seat advantage in the House of Rep will last beyond Feb 3, when the winner of the Jan 28 special election would have been seated. So that adds another wrinkle. Does that mean the Dems are going to sit even longer? Do they have to reconsider at some point? Are they going to show up for work? a major Supreme Court ruling. And let's also remember, for the sake of, accuracy, this is a court that was largely been made up of designated candidates, members who were nominated by what has largely been, as you know, a DFL-run state as well. And I don't think the vote was close. In fact, it might have even been unanimous. So stay tuned for more on that next week. Still might be some meat on the bone on that story when we chat with Kessler as late as next Wednesday as well. We're out early today because the Wolves are back in action on the flagship. They are in New York to take on the Knicks. Do we have final dispensation on whether Karl Anthony Towns will be in the lineup for New York?
I haven't seen anything. I imagine they're about to warm up.
Listed as questionable going
game
in.
Time decision is what Tibbs said.
DiVincenzo is out, and Mike Conley is therefore back in the starting lineup. We'll see if somebody in our who hasn't been in our rotation gets a chance out of necessity or in honor of the opposing coach. Does Finchy go Tibbs on the bit and say, we'll play, we got our players are out there.
You're going to play in 40 minutes?
Yeah,
we'll play 42.
What's the Hoosiers line?
My team is on the floor.
My team is on the floor.
My team is on the floor.
Well, who's to say? I don't know how that's going to go. Sunday sermons will be 2 hours. I don't think it'll be 3. I hope not. No one's asked me to do it for 3. And then Monday, we're going to be on late because the Wild have a holiday afternoon game that I believe is scheduled to start at 2. So my guess is we'll be on between 5 and 5:30, which will be a fairly short show, but we're here to give, as we always do, and we will be on time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching today. Prepare for your Wolves basketball team against New York. That is next, and I will talk to you Sunday morning at 9.
Change the space. Be happy. Enjoy it.
Want to look leaner and be stronger? Then check out the Nuva Bar. It actually helps you work out. The Nuva Bar is the compact, lightweight way to regain freedom and balance. It targets your lower body, upper body, abs, and core without getting down on the floor. Best of all, the Nuva Bar is now on sale for just $99.99 plus free shipping and comes with interchangeable resistance bands with 7 full workouts. So if you want a trimmer waistline to look like you're 40 in your 60s, get the Nuva Bar and forget about crunches on the floor. Go to NuvaBar.com. That's NuvaBar.com.
Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
With New Year's resolutions, many of us will make a vow to eat healthier, and that's a good thing. But what about our beloved pets and their nutrition? Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here, and I'm on a mission to provide better nutrition for cats and dogs because truthfully, all pet food is dead food, which is why we created Rough Greens and Meow Greens in the first place. We bring their food back to life with live vitamins, minerals, probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, antioxidants, and so much more. All in a tasty formula that your dog and cat will love. You can improve your pet's coat, digestion, energy, and have less vet bills. Let 2025 bring a new year and a new pet. Get a Jumpstart trial bag, normally $20. Get a 100% discount with promo code BESTFRIEND. You discover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com, use promo code BESTFRIEND. Bring your pet's food back to life with Rough Greens. So good, your pet will ask for it by name.